Hi everyone. So I'm going to talk about iPhone 16 Pro and Pixel 9 Pro in this video. See, I know it's all about iOS versus Android or iPhone versus Pixel, but what if they both work great together? I use both of these phones and I love them equally. But I understand not a lot of people wants to carry two phone or even want to spend so much money on two expensive phone. So I'll try to make sure that after the end of this video you'll be able to pick a phone for you. They both are great phone and I don't think one is better than the other, but maybe one might be better for you. Full disclosure, I use both of these phones and they have almost similar apps on both of them except of some banking apps because one is associated with one number. My main SIM in the iPhone because of two reasons. One, I only change my iPhone every year, but I change Android for reviewing purposes, so it makes it easier because there are a lot of apps that are related to my office. I don't want to lose to. The other thing is it's much easier to transfer from one iPhone to the other, which is not an easy, especially if you change brand. So that's one of the reason I keep my iPhone. The other reason is the Apple Watch. I like Apple Watch with cellular version, and unfortunately, in India, Pixel Watch doesn't come with cellular. There are other reasons as well that I prefer Apple Watch, but that's not this video is all about. So that's why my main SIM is in this phone. The thing is, I only carry my iPhone for my family and friends. All the other calls are basically silenced. So most of my official calls, delivery, and everything comes on my Pixel phone. So yeah, most of the time I carry this phone. This I can easily get everything on my watch. So that's why I need a cellular watch. But yes, I use both of these phone equally, and I know a lot of people will always comment that whenever I review a Pixel phone that I'm wearing an Apple Watch, so I must be carrying an iPhone. Yes, I do. But iPhone is my safe choice. But when it comes to liking an OS, personally, I always prefer Android. Now let's talk about each of these four and what I like about which one. So when it comes to the design, I really like the Pixel 9 series design overall. I like this camera bump. I don't like the iPhone 16 Pro camera because it gets dust very easily. On the flat surface, I also like the Pixel, like it doesn't wobble at all, but when it comes to this iPhone, like it is going to wobble a lot. So there are a lot of things when it comes to the design. I like this phone, but when it comes to the in-hand feel, I do prefer the iPhone 16 Pro. They both are 6.3 inches phone. So you can see the Pixel 9 Pro is slightly taller as compared to this, and the bezels are much better here. The notch doesn't bother me. So when it comes to the front of the phone, I like iPhone 16 Pro. The other thing I like about 16 Pro is going to be the in-hand feel because of these rails as well. I don't know, the titanium feels softer and it's going to be more durable when you drop it. The Pixel 9 Pro is a shinier phone on the side, so get a lot of fingerprints and it gets scratches very easily. If I try a cheap case on it, even then it's going to get scratches. I'm not sure whether you'll be able to see it, but there is some scratch on this side. But yes, when it comes to the design, I prefer the Pixel 9 Pro, but when it comes to the in-hand feel, I like the 16 Pro. If I just talk about the front of the screen and the display, I think in that department they both are great phone. They both have great display. They both get really bright. The Pixel gets a little bit more bright. It has more resolution. But the iPhone 16 Pro has the Dolby Vision, so I also like that. I usually prefer watching OTT content on the iPhone 16 Pro. On Pixel, I usually watch YouTube. So when it comes to the display, I would pick iPhone 16 Pro over Pixel 9 Pro in that department, but they both are LTPO. So if you pick one of the screen, it's not going to be a big deal. I also like the natural color on iPhone 16 Pro. I think the biggest reason I'm using both of these phones is going to come down to the software and the features that they provide. So I'm going to tell you exactly which phone I pick when I want to use a specific app, feature, or something. So let's suppose if I want to use a banking app or social media app, I am definitely going to pick my iPhone over it. I think I prefer the overall experience of these apps on this. So let's suppose I'll give you an example. I have a Sonos app. So the thing is, with Sonos app, if I want to set up a true play, let's suppose I'm just going to pick up the speaker. If I want to set up a true play, this only works with iPhone. I don't have that feature on any Android phone. And it's not just this app, there are a lot of apps that works just better on iPhone. So when it comes to a simple scenario where I want to use a specific app, I always pick my iPhone. But when I am feeling bored and I want to entertain myself, if I want to scroll through social media, my hand will always go to an Android phone, and in this case, it's going to be Pixel. I just don't know. The overall experience of Android is much better. Accept it or not, the iPhone is a boring phone. So if you don't have anything particular in mind, uh, you are going to get bored with the iPhone. And that's where I prefer the Pixel phone or Android phone in general. And not just that, the AI feature. Let's suppose I use Gemini a lot nowadays. So if I want to ask specific things, I usually don't go on Google and search stuff. I just go to Gemini and I use this AI feature. I mean, it works really great. Lately, I've been planning a trip, so it was much easier to ask a lot of questions to Gemini to get those answers. Yes, you can use other apps like ChatGPT on both of these phones and use it, but you get this Gemini Live as a feature for at least 12 months if you want to use directly on this phone. And you don't have to pay for anything. Otherwise, even the Google Assistant is much better than the Siri itself. Yes, we like the new Siri animation now with the new Apple Assistant, but overall, we know the Siri is dumb. Even the Apple is going with the Chat GPT in future with 18.2 update to get all of those AI features. So overall, when it comes to a smartphone, I feel like Google or Android in general is a much better phone. One more thing that I like about iPhone is going to be the ecosystem itself. So let's suppose I'm using the Apple TV. I mean, I have that remote with me all the time, and if there is something playing on the TV, it's always going to be in your notification panel. Let's suppose if I'm watching something. So I feel the connectivity overall if I want to use handoff and if I want to transfer something between my iPhone, iPad, or Mac, and even if I just want to mirror my screen, everything feels seamless on iPhone. But that's not the case with Android. I mean, yes, Samsung is doing a lot of things, but I will still think when it comes to the ecosystem, iPhone is just better. But if you have to pick one phone, you can just decide based on the features that I've told you about. Now I'm going to talk about performance, but I'm going to keep it like small. So when it comes to the overall performance, raw power, I am always going to pick iPhone. It is a much better phone if you do video editing, if you want to play games, if you want to take raw shots because the shutter speed is also really good. So a lot of CPU intensive thing just works better on iPhone. But when it comes to day-to-day usage, I don't see any difference between any of these phones. So if you're someone who wants to prefer the productivity, you want to use the split screen or any of those things, I think it works better on the Android phone. So overall, when it comes to the raw performance, iPhone is definitely better. So if you're someone who prefers that, you can't go wrong with iPhone. But if you're someone like me who doesn't use very high-end apps or do editing on their phone, I think they both give great experiences. The other thing I want to talk about is the battery life, charging, and the way we charge. So let's talk about the battery life. I think the battery life is better on Pixel overall. The reason I say is I think the standby hasn't been great with iPhone. I don't know why. Even this home and lock screen eats a lot of my battery. So overall, lately the experience hasn't been that great. I'm usually getting 5 to 6 hours at best, and this app home screen is taking a lot of my battery life. I've searched Reddit, and there are a lot of people suffering from this, especially after iOS 18. But the thing is, I like the charging option on the iPhone. It does support that MagSafe, and you also get the new 25-watt charging. I have the 25-watt MagSafe charger, so this charges this phone much faster. The wireless charging on Pixel is not good at all. So unless you have that Pixel stand, the wireless charging is really bad. I would say it usually takes 4 hours. So I usually keep my phone on charge overnight. But Pixel stand is not available in India, so I don't have any other option. So if you're someone who prefer wireless charging, iPhone is going to be a better bet. But if you're someone who uses the wired charging, I think they both are great. They usually go up to 25 to 27 watt. So in that regards, I think they both are great phones. The battery life is better on Pixel 9 Pro. The other area where I think the iPhone works better is going to be the network reception. So let me just start with the normal test. So I'm going to use the fast in this case, which I usually prefer because this is created by Netflix. So they both are on 5G. Let's see how much this is going to pull, and then we're going to check the same thing on my iPhone. So they both are on 5G. It does take time to like get the good connectivity, and there are a lot of times when I have to turn it to airplane mode if I want the best speed out of it. Now let's check the iPhone. It's not just one problem. The thing is, there are a lot of times when you are in some areas where it will switch to 4G very soon. And if I want to get the 5G speed, I will have to turn off the airplane mode and turn on. So let me just show you like how much difference is going to be. Now try this. Now this is on 5G, and I believe this is going to be better speed right now. I am hoping. As you can see, this is much better right now. And I've been facing this issue a lot. It has been the issue with the older Pixel phone as well. But overall, if you just want a better network and reception between both of these phones, iPhone is better. And there are other Android phones that are much better when it comes to reception. That's one of the reason I also have my main SIM in this phone. So if you live in an area where the 5G is challenging or it's overall a low reception area, I would say ignore Pixel altogether. There is one more thing that I want to talk about is going to be the cameras. They both have similar specs, a normal wide angle camera, a 5x telephoto, and the normal ultra wide. But the thing is, they both have difference in processing. And when it comes to just photos and normal point and shoot, I usually pick the Pixel phone. I just feel like the Pixel is much better when it comes to point and shoot. But when it comes to the details, I usually prefer the iPhone. I also like a different focal length. As you can see, I usually keep my phone on 1.5x. I really like this focal length. In Pixel, you don't have that option. Also, the other thing I like about iPhone is overall details are much better on this phone. So there are a lot of time when I take pictures from the Pixel phone, I feel like the quality could have been better, especially on that 2x. And when it comes to the iPhone, I feel like the processing and the HDR could have been better, so I choose the Pixel. But overall, when it comes to the photos, I usually pick my Pixel phone. If I just talk about the video, I think for video, it hands down the iPhone. After the 4K 120, I don't think there is any comparison overall. But even before that, you have the option to record ProRes. If you have the external drive, you can actually do pro things with this phone. You have the Pro RAW photos as well, which is much better. If you want to take a lot of pictures in burst mode, even with the ProRes, the iPhone is going to be a much better choice for you. So when it comes down to camera point and shoot, Pixel is my preference. But if I want to pick a overall camera that works for everything, iPhone is just better. I think by now you would have understood how much I enjoy using these phones, and I use both of them equally in a sense. I think they complete each other. There are some things that are better on iPhone, there are some things are better on Pixel, which I already talked about. But I understand not everyone wants to carry two phones. So, what is the practical phone for you? See, if we talk about the US pricing, also they both start from $1,000 128 GB. But outside US, in a lot of countries, like for example in India, Pixel starts from 256 GB and it's cheaper than iPhone. The iPhone 256 GB is almost $300 expensive than the Pixel one. So for the price perspective itself, the Pixel 9 Pro makes a lot of sense. If I have to pick one, I'm still going to pick iPhone 16 Pro. The reason is the app experience is better on this phone, the service, the reliability is better on iPhone, the power is much better, and I like the charging option and the MagSafe option on this. I don't have to specifically use a case just to use that MagSafe. Overall battery life is also really good. The overall camera performance, this is an all-rounder phone. If I want to take videos or want to do raw shooting, the shutter speed is much better on iPhone as well. So there are a lot of reasons that makes this a compelling phone overall. But I don't have to choose one. What about you? If you have given the option between both of these, which one will you choose? If you have any question, you can ask in the comment box and I will try my best to give you the answer. My name is Rohit. I'll see you in the next one. Till then,